AWS's online sessions, and today we'll be doing AWS Innovation. So let's begin. Alright, welcome to AWS Innovation. Today we're going to be starting by talking about design thinking. So what is design thinking? Design thinking is a method that is mainly used for the purpose of comprehending people, questions, problems, and solutions. It is used to turn ideas into physical and evaluable products as soon as that is possible. The design thinking framework consists of three main points: immersion, ideation, and then implementation. So, what are the 5 stages of the design thinking process? These 5 stages that are listed below do not always occur in a specific order, and the common theme is that they occur at the same time and repeat numerous times. So, the first stage of the design thinking process is empathize. This is where you discover your target audience. You learn more about the audience, such as their problems and their necessities. Next, define. This is where you determine your problem statement. You do so by focusing on the user's needs. The problem statement is then used as a guiding tool throughout the design thinking process. Next, ideate. This is where you will collaborate with others with different areas of expertise. And in this case, you want quantity over quality, so you can collaborate with the most amount of people with the most arrays of areas of expertise. Next, prototype. This is the goal. This is the ultimate goal, which is to create a product that can be evaluated and then critiqued. And lastly, test. Users will provide feedback that will help determine if their solution is viable, and this will help you save money in the long term. So the Cloud Innovation Center. What is the Cloud Innovation Center? The Cloud Innovation Center creates a chance for nonprofit institutions, education services, and government departments to work with other public sector companies. They do so to collaborate on issues of high importance. The Cloud Innovation Center can help test issues using Amazon's innovation process. You will be able to harness the technology of AWS, as well as any nonprofit institutions, education services, or government departments that can register to work on an assignment. Next, what is the culture of innovation? So Amazon aims to be the world's most customer-centric organization, and they do this to 4 main customer sets: consumers, sellers, enterprises, and content creators. So what are the characteristics of an innovative culture? There are 4 characteristics: hiring builders, failing fast, working backwards, and 2 pizza teams. So first, hiring builders. So you want to hire builders with different backgrounds and points of view as earlier expressed, in order to best make good decisions with the most amount of advice and the best advice from all aspects. Fail fast. You want to try all possibilities and be accepting of failure. It's okay to fail, and you can learn a lot from it. Working backwards. You constantly want to drive customer-centric thinking. This is used to make sure that the product is what the consumer needs. You work from the end vision of the customer and then work backwards. 2 pizza teams. So what this means is that you want to hire efficient workers in order to minimize communication and any unnecessary meetings. The reason it is called 2 pizza teams is because an innovation team should require no more than 2 pizzas to feed them, as they are a small yet efficient team. Here is the formula for innovation. Innovation is equal to culture plus people plus tools and mechanisms. Here is a video that will be linked below about the design thinking process. Next, let's talk about the 5 W's of innovation at Amazon. First, what is innovation? Innovation is the successful integration of new thoughts into society. Where does innovation take place? Everywhere. It can range from inventing something to improving it. Who innovates? Everyone. Innovation is the way one goes about their work. When does one innovate? Every day. It occurs because of ongoing events and unexpected circumstances. And lastly, why innovate? Everything depends on it. Innovation helps create new opportunities to serve new consumers. So, models of innovation. There are numerous models that each have their pros and cons, and a way to categorize these various kinds of models are by separating it across a continuum of a continuous or a discontinuous model. Continuous models of innovation are innovation that are described as incremental, evolutionary, and reactive. There are more linear type changes, and there are a constant increase over time. However, discontinuous models of innovation are innovation that are described as disruptive, revolutionary, and transformative. There are nonlinear and abrupt changes. As you can see in the image, the continuous development is a smooth triangle with a straight linear line of constant increasing innovation over time. However, discontinuous development is a bar graph where there are sudden jumps in innovation. Next, the innovation process. So, the most common process to uphold innovation is known as working backwards. This depends on working deliberately according to the goal and the shared thoughts of the customer. You constantly inject innovation into independent and teamwork, and you do so by working backwards from the customer's goals of the product or what they want. This is to You do this by constantly coming back to the customer's ideas for solving certain problems, and you have to work repetitively and continually reevaluate the problem at hand, which is why, as stated before, the innovation process is reiterative. Next, working intentionally. It's important to work both intentfully and determinedly. This siphons AWS's customer obsession into solving a certain conflict. Organizations work specifically to make sure that their business decisions are orderly managed, and teams will work purposefully together. Individual workers will take the lead and ownership of their own efforts in order to help optimize innovation. So, the starting place for working intentionally include two places: the vision and the mental models. The vision is an idea of how certain things could be contrasting to how they are currently, and this contradicts conventional wisdom. It You should be rigid on the vision, but relax on the specifics of how you get there. Next, the mental models. The mental models are the basic ideas that act as the base for generating more ideas. They raise ideas from the ground and provide them with superior direction. Furthermore, they are formed as a statement of cause and effect, and they work to help create new ideas. Let's talk more about working backwards. This is made up of the 5 customer questions, which are: who is the customer? What is the customer's problem or opportunity? What is the most important customer benefit? How do you know what the customer wants or needs? And what does the customer experience look like? The goal of all of these questions is to help maintain the customer's importance and keep them involved in the innovation process. This way, you will always make sure that the product you are creating relates to the customer and is what they actually want or need. So here is a video about the innovation process that will also be linked below. Next, working iteratively. So the innovation process becomes iterative, especially during execution. Many ideas never get past the analysis phase, and when this happens, it's called analysis paralysis. Execution is when an organization chooses to commit to an idea. As a result, they hire a leader and a committed team to execute. Successful execution leads to experimentation, which is the heart of success. However, the research that takes place must be limited to answering specific questions related to serving customers. There are 2 types of decisions that can be made: one-way doors and two-way doors. So, one-way door decisions are decisions that are difficult to return to once they have been made. However, two-way door decisions are decisions that are reversible, and they're made quickly by superior groups and high-level individuals. One-way door decisions should be made very carefully as they cannot be reversed. However, two-way door decisions are made quickly as they are reversible. Where do ideas come from? So, ideas come from a variety of places. For instance, expertise and a beginner's mind. Opening a mind influences perspective and helps new ideas emerge. This helps prevent any personal bias, assumptions, and limitations. It also comes from irrational optimism and grit. Ideas that are not commonly accepted should not necessarily be neglected right away. Resilience is extremely important in the innovation process, as it helps one make their good idea a reality. And being misunderstood is not always a negative and can actually be a learning experience. Listening and imaging. Ideas come from visualizing a customer's idea before they can do so themselves. So, to do this, you want to get to know your customer. You want to put yourself in their shoes. A great amount of AWS's ideas actually came from listening to customers. History and science fiction. Ideas come from a combination of failure and success. Ideas can be inspired from a lot of external sources. Next, let's discuss a PR FAQ. A PR FAQ stands for Press Release and Frequently Asked Questions. A press release is a one-page narrative that describes AWS's vision using customer-centric language. A press release, or PR, is used to envision how the customer will react to the product. It helps sort through ideas, and it ensures that these ideas are worthy of future investment. So, what are the elements of the PR FAQ? It is a skill that takes practice to master. It is known as a crafting process due to their draft and edit system that is used when creating the PR FAQ. FAQs share plans early for feedback from superiors, and they're developed to answer questions that a customer may have about the product. There are two types of FAQs: a customer FAQ and a stakeholder FAQ. Customer FAQ is when you create a question where you imagine that you are the customer and then you write the question that answers something a real customer might ask about the product. But a stakeholder FAQ is a question your superiors or partner may ask about the product. It is crucial to identify any difficult questions you come across early when working backwards and incorporate these as both customer or stakeholder FAQs. What is a visual? A visual allows one to explore the customer experience. It is used to show how the customers will use the product and how they want to use it. As the project matures, the visual can become more detailed. Visual presentation is important as it shows how pictures, images, and diagrams express ideas. And visual presentation maximizes the effectiveness of any presentation. Here's a video about working backwards that will again be linked below. Here is an example of a visual that tells a story, but also has an aesthetic background that can be pleasing and effectively deliver the idea. Next, let's discuss Amazon's leadership principles. So these have been incorporated in Amazon since 2002, and they explain how Amazon conducts business. These leadership principles explain how leaders manage and how decisions are formed for AWS's customers. So, we're going to be discussing each of the 17 leadership principles you see below: customer obsession, ownership, invent and simplify, or write a lot, learn and be curious, hire and develop the best, deliver results, insist on the highest standards, think big, bias for action, frugality, earn trust, dive deep, have backbone, disagree and commit, deliver results, try to be the greatest employer, and success and scope bring great responsibility. So these 17 leadership principles are what we will be discussing over the next few slides. So let's begin. First, customer obsession and ownership. Customer obsession. Leaders begin with consumers and work backwards. They work diligently to maintain customer trust. Leaders should focus on customers and keep competition under a close eye as well. The skills required to do this are humility, empathy, and more. Ownership. Leaders are owners. They plan for the future and do not sacrifice the future for any immediate gain. They represent the entire company. They take the initiative to help out. In order to do so, they are persistent and have integrity. A quote from Jeff Bezos, Amazon's founder and CEO, is that the number one thing that has made Amazon successful by far is obsessive compulsive focus on the customer. Invent and simplify and alright a lot. Invent and simplify. Workers are required to provide innovation and invention to their work. That's why leaders always work to simplify matters. They constantly also search for new and innovative ideas from their workers. The skills required to do so include diligence, flexibility, and the ability to be misunderstood. Next, alright a lot. Leaders have good judgment and intuition, and they have to look for different perspectives while working to disprove beliefs as well. So the skills required to do so include humility and optimism. Here's a video about Amazon's leadership principles, but we still have more to cover. Next, learn and be curious, and hire and develop the best. Learn and be curious. Leaders are never satisfied, and they'll always work to improve themselves. They're curious about new opportunities. To do so, they have to be able to learn new things and to be conscientious or diligent. Hire and develop the best. Leaders acknowledge outstanding work and are willing to promote those who do outstanding work. Leaders create other leaders and seriously consider their coaching of their employees. In order to do so, they have to be willing to invest in their employees and have courage that their employees will succeed. Deliver results and insist on the highest standards. It's important for leaders to deliver results. They have to key in on the main suggestions from around them. Despite problems, leaders can never settle and they must always persevere. To do so, they must be committed and be able to deliver on time when necessary. Leaders also have to insist on the highest standards. They have to have incredibly high standards of their employees and have to be looking for more from their team and to constantly motivate them to produce superb products. In order to do so, they have to be trying to get exceptional work and they have to not compromise. Think big and bias for actions. Leaders should think big. They should encourage broad thinking among employees. They should also encourage ambition across the working place at all times. In order to do so, leaders must be innovative and optimistic. Bias for action. Speed is very important in business, and knowing when to take a calculated risk is a valuable skill that all leaders must possess. In order to do so, they have to be quick with their decisions and must be able to take these risks whenever necessary. Frugality and earning trust. Frugality is very important in a business, and leaders must maximize their spending efficiency. Limits that are on leaders will lead to resourcefulness and clever thinking. Therefore, leaders need to be creative and adaptable. Earn trust. Leaders must listen, speak, and treat others respectfully. They have to know their employees are not perfect, and they have to earn their employees' trust. The skills required to do so include trust and honesty from the leader. Dive deep and have a backbone. Leaders conduct business at all levels and are up to date on all details. They're expected to push through any problem that they may face, as no task is beneath them. The skills required to do so are that leaders have to be detail oriented and demystify parts of the business. Have a backbone. Leaders, as stated previously, have to make tough decisions, and they can make tough decisions. They have a strong view, and they're ruthless when they need to be. So to do so, they have to have conviction and cohesion. Deliver results and try to be the best employer possible. Leaders are viewed by employees as Leaders delivering results is viewed by employees as a highly important principle. They have to rise to the occasion and deliver results for certain products. They also have to take responsibility for ideas. Leaders also have to be a leader in the workplace by trying to be the best employer possible. Employees must be able to be in a work environment that is cooperative and safe. And employers should make sure that employees are growing, empathized for, empowered, and ready for whatever may come next. Lastly, success and scope bring great responsibility. The size of a company matters. This is because this size gives them power over their consumers. Since Amazon is one of the largest companies on planet Earth, it empowers customers, gives power to the commander of the company, and helps the company expand beyond its size at the current moment. Those are all the leadership principles. Thank you for listening to the session. We hope you learned something, and we'll see you next time.